I'm Krim Ray, your host at the One Soccer Nation podcast, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Kerry Bradley. Kerry is the Chief Operating Officer at Sports Innovation Lab. Kerry, thank you so much for taking the time today. How's it going?
Really good. Thanks for having me, and Happy New Year. Happy 2024.
Happy New Year, 2024, big year. Before we dive in, Kerry, I just want to share how we met. So this goes back about 2 months back in November. We met in the Magic City, Miami at SoccerX. Through Chris, I was talking to Chris, and then you came along. I didn't know you at the time, and you sparked off a conversation with Chris, and I'm like, who is this? And I want to meet you. We met through Chris, and then we spoke a little bit, and I was like, Kerry Bradley, the last name Bradley. I'm like, are you connected to Michael Bradley? And you were like, yeah. And I was like, no way. So I'm like, there's another fellow Canadian here in the Magic City. So it was so cool to meet you down there.
Yeah, it was great. The soccer world, the sports world is small. The soccer world is even smaller. And when you grew up like I did in and around the game, professional soccer, it's really fun to go to events, conferences like SoccerX and see a lot of familiar faces. So only a lot of people there like yourself, only 1 or 2 degrees of separation away. So it was great to connect at SoccerX.
So Kerry, could you take us back in time and share where your journey began?
Absolutely. Growing up in a big sports family, soccer family in particular, I had some amazing experiences in and around the game. From the time that I was born and learning to walk on the sidelines of the Princeton University soccer field where my dad was coaching at the time, to traveling the world and, visiting and getting to watch my brother play, in different places. Just amazing experiences for me personally, for our family. Seeing the way my family members have poured so much into their own careers, the work ethic, the authenticity, the leadership, the commitment, those are things that absolutely inspired me and informed the way I think, the way that I operate. And so from a very early age, I knew I wanted to have my own career in sports. Definitely not in the same form or fashion, not on the field or on the coaching sideline, but on the business side. And so I was motivated to go to a great school, UCLA, where I could get a great education, but also begin my career working in sports. So I worked in the athletic department at UCLA for 4 years as a student. That turned into my first full-time professional job after I graduated. Those experiences at UCLA, in Los Angeles, home of hub for sports media and entertainment, that was really where I got excited about, kind of forging ahead and growing my own career in sports. That career started on the team side, doing team operations for the UCLA women's soccer program. At the youth international level for U.S. soccer, I ran an under-17 Women's World Cup cycle, doing some team operations for some professional teams that would come over to L.A. For their summer tours. Those experiences, working on the team operations side, it was amazing. I felt like I had a really good inherent sense for what it means, what it takes for a team to be successful day to day. And then after a few years, I felt like, okay, I have a really good handle on this. And now I want to go and develop the same skill set, understanding of the business side. So, growing up in and around a big soccer family, working on the team side in soccer in particular, all of those experiences then motivated me to push on to the business side. And kind of, grow my skill set, round out my experiences. And those are all the things that have led me to where I am today, overseeing business operations for a company, within the sports ecosystem. So it's been an amazing journey and a lot of really great experiences along the way.
Absolutely. Just a few quick questions. What are some key takeaways that you took from team operations?
I think the day to day, week to week, month to month diligence, right? The grind, the attention to detail, the need for, really prudent calendar management and planning when it comes to travel. And there's just so much that goes into that operation. There's just so much that happens behind the scenes, right? And as fans, as consumers, we see amazing athletes and amazing teams take the field, and I don't think everybody can fully appreciate what goes into that, and the heart and soul and the blood, sweat, and tears that each individual as part of a team has to put in order to be a successful team and club, but also to maintain that. And so, I loved being in that environment, high stakes, high pressure, and 24/7, always on. There's no sort of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 schedule when you work kind of on the team side. So I really thrived in that. Again, it's sort of all I know, having grown up in and around professional sports, professional soccer in particular. So I love that. I thrived there, and I take a lot of those learnings, a lot of those experiences with me over to the business side, because the front offices, the business side of professional sports requires the same level of diligence in different ways, of course. We're not talking about, training and travel and international tournaments, but we are talking about, diligently approaching marketing strategies, business intelligence, operations, talent development for, the build out of your team or your front office. So I take with me a lot of the same kind of values and experiences from the intensity of the team side. I bring that over to the business side, and I truly think the operation on the business side needs to mirror the on-field product. There should be a really nice synergy between the on-field product and the off-field business to promote it. And so, again, I think those team operations experiences and just all the time that I've spent in and around teams and leagues and sort of the on-field product, it has served me well now on the business side.
Absolutely. Kerry, I appreciate the work that you do so much. There's so much for me to learn from you and as well as our viewers. Diving into the most recent years back to 2023 and to now, the works that you're doing now, as the Chief Operating Officer at Sports Innovation Lab, you oversee internal business operations and deliver priority data intelligence tools. Can you share some insights into the innovative approaches your team takes to analyze fan behavior and preferences on a large scale?
Absolutely. So yeah, at Sports Innovation Lab, we position ourselves as a fan intelligence company. The reason for that, the reason we exist, is because sports fandom today looks very different than it did a few decades ago, even quite frankly, a few years ago. Sports fandom and really consumer behaviors in general, they're changing rapidly, right? With new cultural influences, with the explosion of new technologies, for a million different reasons. Sports fandom and the way we engage with sports media and entertainment as consumers, those trends and engagement strategies are rapidly evolving. And so when Sports Innovation Lab came to be around 7 years ago, it was really to provide a source of in-depth intelligence on that rapidly evolving landscape of sports fan behaviors. So we believe that going deep to understand not just demographically, like who these fans are, where they live, but behaviorally, where do they spend their time? Where do they spend their money? What do they care about? We believe that those are keys to unlocking both commercial growth and innovation. And even more simply put than that, understanding your current and prospective fan base is key to growing your business within sports. And so that's why Sports Innovation Lab was born. That's who we are. It's why we exist. And as a result, my team has to be just as diligent, just as innovative as we're recommending the industry be. So I'm very proud of the team and the processes, the ways of working that we've established at Sports Innovation Lab. We try to be innovative ourselves. We like to say that our work is mixed methods. We're leveraging and analyzing data from a number of different sources, deploying a lot of different research methods, and trying to paint a really comprehensive picture when it comes to gleaning insights and developing strategies for growth for our clients. So it's really fun and challenging work, and I'm really proud of the way that the team has operated and really helped build up our IP and our processes to date.
Nice. So what would you say is the biggest challenge that you've faced to date?
It's interesting, right? Because the sports industry hasn't really been incentivized to grow or change or innovate, right? For decades, for years, sports fans show up. I mean, by and large, like they're just going to continue to show up. Maybe not for every single team or every single league, but there is a general sort of belief and interest in sports as a society. But really in the years since the pandemic, obviously, when the world stopped, when the world shut down and businesses and industries were really challenged to, think about how they survive, how they continue to engage broadly with consumers. Really in the years since, we've seen a greater demand for innovation on the sports business side. But really, like, not every team, not every league, not every brand, media, or technology company is really ready for that. And so we find ourselves in a situation where we are often educating and helping to kind of pull people along on that journey. It is a journey. I do think it is exactly that. I think the new wave of kind of fandom, new era of fans that we're seeing today, they are demanding more innovation, and that we think differently as an industry and as a sports business ecosystem. So it's both challenging but also exciting when we think about what that represents and what that can mean for the sports industry over the course of the next however many years.
Absolutely. What attracted you to work at this company, and how long have you been with them?
Been with Sports Innovation Lab for 2 years, 2 years this month. It's been an amazing experience. My first startup, and it's true what they say, startup life is not for the faint of heart. But in that regard, I've really enjoyed the challenge, the pace of working quickly, developing IP, thinking about how to go to market, how to engage with clients, how to build a brand. Those experiences have been amazing and exactly what I was looking for at this point in my career. I was anxious to get that C-suite experience, manage a team cross-functionally, oversee a really robust client roster. And I think the other component of our work at Sports Innovation Lab, we like to say we sit in the middle of the market, meaning we work pretty agnostically. Men's sports, women's sports. We work with the teams, the leagues, the brands, the media and technology companies. We work with legacy leagues and teams that have been around forever. And we work with, amateur or challenger teams and leagues, new ownership groups looking to stand up new operations, new franchises. And that exposure for me to just work closely with CMOs or CEOs or, team presidents, business intelligence leads, like with the leaders, with the key stakeholders who are responsible for, overseeing and growing their businesses. It's been amazing. And so in that regard, no 2 days look alike at Sports Innovation Lab. The nature of our work is as fast paced as sort of the landscape. So it means in a given month, we might be working on, some projects to help inform growth strategies for an MLS club. And, a couple days later, we might be shifting gears and writing a report on, sport as a platform for good from a social impact perspective. We love pointing our capabilities at women's sports to help prove the business case, and that investing in women's sports isn't just the right thing to do, it's good business. So there's a lot of really interesting and meaningful work that we get to do at Sports Innovation Lab. So in that regard, it's been a lot of fun.
Nice. I know I'm hitting you with a lot of organic questions that I didn't prepare. There's just so many questions popping up in my
That's
mind
okay.
that are coming. This is the last organic one, and I'll try to keep it pushing on what I have here on the list. You mentioned management. How many people are you working with, and what are some management skills that you could share with us?
The Sports Innovation Lab team is small. We are just shy of 20 people, 20 full-time team members, of course, with the addition of some part-time folks, contractors, consultants, etc. And I love when people say, "Oh, I didn't realize you were that small." It means we're punching above our weight in terms of the clients that we land and the work that we do. Look, I think, in any organization, size is a factor. The size of the team, how well resourced you are across the different functions, certainly a factor. Personally, I love working cross-functionally. I love managing a team that needs to think strategically end to end, right? When there aren't, a ton of resources, we need to work together, and we need to be in lockstep when we think about sales and the handoff from sales into project management, and project management into strategic execution, the interaction between our advisory services group and our data science team. There's a lot of collaboration and coordination required. So for me as a manager, I really try and maintain a view of the bigger picture. I'm a dot connector. I like to ensure that each function, each area of the business knows exactly what they're responsible for, what they need to contribute in order to help the company, help the overall business achieve our goals. And when everybody has that sense of, how they're contributing and how they need to prioritize their work, it's an amazing feeling. And so I really thrive in that type of environment. I love connecting those dots and just trying to get a team, a business, an operation humming, working both efficiently and effectively.
I love it. I love it. I foresee what you're saying in regards to management of a team. For right now, where I'm at, I only have an advisory board and some guys down in India in regards to web development, and the Philippines for accounting. But you guys have a bigger team than us. So when you mention all those different aspects, could you just share a little bit of the process of how leads come in and how long it takes from a working collaboration to it all coming together into a completion and execution?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it can really vary. We're still early enough in our journey as a company that there's a lot of relationship-based inbound, right? So For many of us who have worked in and around sports for many years, connections and relationships, word of mouth about our brand, the work that we're doing with different teams or leagues or brands. That's what generates a lot of really organic interest in who we are and what we do, which is amazing. I love starting from a place of, sort of genuine interest and a little bit of familiarity. You don't always have that luxury from a sales perspective. Of course, each business is different, and quite a few businesses require a bit of cold outreach. But for us, really leaning into that organic inbound has been important and has proven to be really valuable. What that also means, though, is that it takes time. It takes time to build up trust and rapport. I prefer to go deep and ask new business prospects, a lot of questions about what their priorities are, how they're resourced, where they're struggling, where the gaps are. I truly believe that the more you understand your client or your prospective client's business, the better the partner you're going to be. Whether you have a canned, ready to go solution yet or not, and so that takes time, and it means that our sales cycles can oftentimes extend well into sort of the 3, 6, 9-month timeframes. But what it means is that, when we're then beginning a project, beginning a new engagement, we're not starting from scratch. We now have a lot of really great intelligence, really good intel on what our client needs in order to be successful. And that sets us up for success. I like to think of us as, sort of a strategic partner to our clients. We like to say that we're, think of us as an extension of your team. And as we dive in to the work, to the research, to the analysis, gleaning insights, developing strategies, we're doing that with a lot of really important context in mind, because data's great, but data is just data if you don't know how to make it actionable. So we spend a lot of time and energy both upfront, kind of in our discovery and our sales calls, and also on the back end, once we've completed some work, really helping to educate and socialize the insights in a thoughtful way to our clients. And I think that's been key for us. So some longer sales cycles, but I love leaning into, relationship building, trust, rapport, a deep understanding of our client's business in order to do the best work possible.
Amazing. I know I'm going to go a little bit back here to the beginning of SocRex. Were you there on behalf of the company? And what was the goal and outcome for SocRex, and how was your experience?
Yeah, great question. So when I joined Sports Innovation Lab a couple years ago, I was blown away. I felt like the company was sitting on really great research and data and insights across sports in general, and specifically with some key clients, a couple of sports in particular. I felt we were a bit light when it came to kind of the business side of soccer and the growth potential for soccer in the US market. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that, on the road to 2026, maybe a Women's World Cup in North America in 2027, now is the time for people to ride the wave and take advantage of
2026.
That's it. Now is the time to really get involved and capitalize on this next wave of growth and popularity, what is sure to be the next wave of growth and popularity for soccer in the US market. So with that in mind, I sat down with my team and I said, we need to be a credible and knowledgeable source of information and data and research and insights on soccer fandom in this market, because everybody's hungry for it, and that's only going to continue. That interest is only going to rise over the course of the next few years. So we really set out to kind of go deep and understand soccer fandom in the US market in a more in-depth way. And that work led to the release of a report called Fanarchy 26, early 2023. And on the heels of that report launch, we've slowly but surely built up a really compelling roster of global football or domestic soccer clients, teams, leagues, brands, etc. And so as a result, it was an exciting opportunity for me to go down to SoccerX for the first time, to catch up with some existing clients and partners, and also continue to connect with prospective clients and partners. And in that regard, it was great. It was really, it was a productive trip. It was great to connect with some familiar faces. Always fun to catch up with old friends. Like I said at the start of the call, the soccer world is small, but also just, kind of keep tabs on some new and interesting kind of themes across the sports business landscape, the soccer business landscape. So some great panels, some great connections. Overall, it was a really good trip.
So, Kerry, the sports industry is evolving rapidly, especially with the emergence of new technologies. How does Sports Innovation Lab stay at the forefront of these changes? And what role does data play in shaping the future of sports?
Yeah. So Sports Innovation Lab, because we're a fan intelligence company, because we're focused on studying fan behaviors, that means we better be keeping tabs on all of the new and disruptive technologies that fans are using to follow the athletes and the teams and the leagues and the sports that they love. That was in many ways how Sports Innovation Lab kind of first began, focused on the evaluation of new technologies. Today we focus more on kind of the fan behavior side, but with that, of course, we have to be keeping tabs on all the technologies that are changing the way consumers consume sports media and entertainment. The reality is, in this new wave of sports fandom and consumer behavior, if you're an international team or league, or even quite frankly, if you're a domestic club or league, the reality is you're going to have fans who never step foot inside your stadium or inside your venue. That is just the reality and the global nature of sport today. And that's not meant to be like doom and gloom. They're never showing up. It's that you have the opportunity to engage and acquire fans globally who may never have the opportunity to come and experience your product live. And what that means is you have to, as a sports business, think about all the other touch points, all the other ways in which you can engage and acquire and retain those fans outside of the venue, outside of the stadium or the arena or the live game day experience. That requires technology, right? And so we at Sports Innovation Lab, we're focused on, how to meet fluid fans where they are, how to engage with them on different technology platforms, leveraging different technological innovations to kind of improve the experience, the content, the overall kind of engagement. And that's not going away anytime soon. Of course, we're using data to really analyze what resonates, what moves the needle, what do fans respond to. A really important variable for us is where fans are willing to spend their time and their money in the face of a lot of competition in the attention economy. If fans are willing to spend time and money on a given technology or on a given platform, that's important for us to take note of. So that's data that we're going to analyze and provide to the industry, so they can keep tabs and continue to evolve technologies, so that fans are able to engage with the athletes and the teams and the leagues that they love. That's really the role that technology plays in continuing to evolve the sports industry and more broadly sports media and entertainment at large.
Playing, me being a player from grassroots to semi-pro and having the opportunity to play in England, France, and in the US. As a player, I never knew all this was going on. I've been on the business side for the last 2 years, and to know how much detail, information, data, technology goes into the beautiful game is so cool. And again, I'm just so thankful to connect with people like yourself that are so passionate about the game on a front office aspect. And again, this is a part of the beautiful game, so there's a lot that goes into to make that final product whole. So it's so cool. Kerry, you also, you touched on this a little bit, but you have an academic honors at UCLA with a BA in communication studies and a certification in sports business and sports management. How has your academic background influenced your career trajectory, particularly in your current role as COO at Sports Innovation Lab?
I was always a good student. I was always ambitious and hungry to learn, and I've always strived to do more and to be more and to learn more and to do better. And I've always had kind of that inherent motivation. And so for me, academics was that was an important starting point. And going to UCLA, going to a great school, both academically and in terms of the prestige, the success of the athletic department, it was a great balance for me. I got my communications degree. Really, I'm a generalist. Like I said before, I like to connect dots, and I like to work across different functions and ideas. And so my communications degree kind of gave me that opportunity to really develop a broad skill set. The focus on sports business and sports management, of course, based on interests kind of personally and professionally. I just loved it right out of the gate. For today, the way that impacts my role today, I talk a lot with, younger team members, employees of mine, or just in general, folks starting out in the sports industry. Of course, there is a need for really specific domain expertise, really specific functional roles in different areas, but there's also tremendous value in being a generalist, and working kind of across different functions, different parts of an organization. And so, for me to kind of, I began my career at UCLA and developing that generalist skill set, that put me on a track for business operations and to work cross-functionally. Today, as a COO, as a chief operating officer, I need to think about how to ensure the different areas of our business are working in harmony, are working both efficiently and effectively, to make us successful. And so that kind of generalist mentality, thinking holistically, thinking strategically across a lot of different moving pieces, that's what I love. I enjoy that. I thrive in that type of environment. The more there is to juggle, the better. And so, I think a lot of that really started in the way that I approached academics and securing my degree at UCLA. And that generalist mentality has never left.
Nice. Is there anything that you guys call yourselves? Is there any cool names, any short forms or anything like that?
At Sports Innovation Lab, not really. We're Sports Innovation Lab. In writing, sometimes we'll use SIL, but we're Sports Innovation Lab through and through.
What about UCLA? Was there any like cool things that you guys had?
Oh, at UCLA, I mean, we're the Bruins. These days, I think they say fours up. That makes me sound really old because we didn't use that back in my day. But yeah, the school pride, the Bruin pride, it runs deep. I loved my time at UCLA. So really, really wonderful years there. 4 years as a student, working in the athletic department, and then 2 years after I graduated, working full time in the athletic department. All 6 years working very specifically with UCLA women's soccer, an amazing program, and amazing experience for me to get my career in sports started.
Nice. I got to ask you this before I forget. Women's soccer around the whole world is blowing up. I'm close to the US. You guys are based in the US too, right?
Yep.
What are you seeing? What is the data saying? What are the people saying about women's soccer?
The time for women's sports, the time for soccer in the US, it's now. And so when you think about those two things, women's sports and soccer in the US market, very specifically, the opportunity for women's soccer right now is just tremendous. I have said many times before, from an investment perspective, the best time to invest in women's sports and in women's soccer was yesterday. Today is your second best option. The time is now. And at Sports Innovation Lab, as I said before, we love to point our data and research capabilities at the women's sports space to really help provide the hard evidence that investment into women's sports, women's soccer in particular, is not just the right thing to do. This isn't just like a gender equity play. This is good business. And so we bring the data and the hard evidence, the research to validate that there's tremendous growth potential here. These fans of women's sports, women's soccer in particular, they are fiercely loyal. They are hungry for more. The quality of the product, right? The talent at the team and league levels, it's just it's amazing over the course of my lifetime and in my career to just be a part of this exciting wave of growth in women's sports. It's incredible, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. That's not just anecdotal. That is backed by the data and the research that we're sitting on, that we're analyzing every day at Sports Innovation Lab.
It's so exciting. I'm seeing USL Super League that's looking to be a first division team from the last time I checked on Google. First Division League, sorry. It's being led by Amanda Vanderbilt, if I'm saying that correctly. I think I got it, right?
Amanda Vanderbilt. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I butchered it a little bit. Yeah, so I've met her two times, once in Kentucky back in 2022 at USL's mid-year event, and we reconnected at SocRec. So such a great human and a leader in the space. And you're seeing USL Super League pop out teams left, right, and center. And that One Soccer Nation, we're excited to push for both the men's and women's game. And to hear you, Kerry, share that the data is there, that the time was yesterday, but now especially. And I'm hearing so many investors saying you're getting in at the ground level for this investment opportunity. It's just music to my ears. There's so much excitement, so much hype. Copa America 2026, hopefully the Women's World Cup. There's so much juice and orange to squeeze, and it's so exciting. Coming towards the end here, the last two questions I have. Sports Innovation Lab was founded by Angela Ruggiero, 4 times Olympic medalist and former IOC member. How has her vision shaped the company, and what unique perspectives does she bring to the intersection of sports and technology?
Well, Angela's career speaks for itself. 4-time Olympian, most decorated US hockey player, male or female. Um, and then her experiences after she stopped playing, serving on the board of the IOC, helping with strategy for an Olympic Games, just really embedding herself within the sports business world. Those experiences led her to identify that there was a gap, there was an opportunity, a need for more sophisticated data to help drive decision making. And so that observation led to the formation, the launch of Sports Innovation Lab. And like I said, we have in-depth fan intelligence capabilities that we believe are key to helping the sports ecosystem continue to grow and innovate. All of that said, Angela's background in particular, obviously as a female athlete, and her experiences, her involvement in continuing to forge and push for the growth of the women's sports landscape, that means that the growth of women's sports has become a really important pillar for our business. We work agnostically across the ecosystem, men's sports, women's sports, teams, leagues, brands, media, technology companies, you name it. But we love to focus on the insights that help validate women's sports and the growth of the women's sports landscape. So her vision, both for more sophisticated, data-driven decision making, obviously, important, and why we exist as a data and research and insights company. And then her passion for, and belief in the growth of the women's sports landscape. That is no longer just her. We have a very passionate team. Every single member of the Sports Innovation Lab team believes wholeheartedly and is armed with the hard evidence to show that women's sports is on the rise. It's an incredible investment opportunity right now. And that growth potential, it's not slowing down anytime soon. So those perspectives, her experiences, certainly have helped shape who we are as a company and as a brand that is trying to do meaningful work and really move the needle across the sports ecosystem.
All I could say is nice, amazing. I love it. There's nothing else I could say. Towards the end here, as the sports industry adapts to the changing landscape, what do you see as the most exciting opportunity or trends that will shape the future of fan engagement in sports technology?
I think there's a few kind of trends and themes that I'm excited about. For one, of course, with new technologies and amazing new venues being built, the game day experience will continue to evolve and blow us away, and that's exciting. But I think that balance of the game day experience with all of the other touch points for fans, the other 99% of the time, I think that's going to be a really important theme for the sports industry, for the sports business world, to keep tabs on. Because like I said before, there are fans. We will continue to engage and acquire fans who never have the interest or the opportunity to attend a live event, attend a live match. And so we have to continue to meet those fans where they are and provide opportunities to engage and to monetize them in authentic ways outside of the venue and outside of game day. So I think that theme, that balance is going to be really interesting. I also think in this new era of fandom, fans today, really consumers in general, they care about more than wins and losses. They care about more than just the on-field product and the statistics. They care about who these athletes are, both on and off the field, what they're wearing, what they stand for. These consumers, these fans, they want to align their interests with products and services and experiences that have values that mirror their own. And so what that means is that this new wave of fan behavior, it's going to challenge us as a sports industry to think about using sport as a platform for good, for social impact, for gender equity, for inclusivity and togetherness. Sport has always been that. Sport has always been, an amazing way of bringing people together. And I'm excited that in this sort of latest wave of sports fandom, younger consumers are challenging us to do that, to be that even more. And so sport has always, brought us together from a cultural and societal perspective. And I think, between technologies and the way that athletes and teams and leagues, show up and engage fans and engage consumers in meaningful and authentic ways, that's only going to continue. And I'm excited for what that means for us as a sports industry and more broadly, culturally and as a society over the course of the next several years.
That's great to hear, Kerry. I'm so excited to continue following your journey, to see where the company goes. You guys are already doing so much great work. And I'm so excited that you had the opportunity to take the time with us and be on the One Soccer Nation podcast today.
Thanks for having me, Kareem. It was great.
Cheers.